Hey there, welcome back to another review, this time of the 1979 TV movie sequel, Captain America 2, Death Too Soon. And the subtitle actually does fit with the plot of the film, because it deals with Christopher Lee playing this bad guy named Miguel, who's a chemist, who creates this serum that makes people age acceleratedly. So they age really quickly, and if they don't get the antidote in time, people are gonna die of old age. So it's not lying. The title isn't lying. It really is Death Too Soon. But like I said in the other review, for its audience that's watching this, it's not soon enough. Because there are some things about this that work, and I'll get into them. But for the most part, it's the same lame shit from the last TV movie, and even more lame shit piled on top of it. Just a little bit more action and a really cool stunt. But that's really about it, because other than that, it's still really forgettable, and it's still really lame, and it's still really cornball. It's still dated as all hell, and it's still a shitty sequel, and it's a shitty movie. It's a shitty TV movie. It's a really bad TV movie for a TV series that, thank God, was never made, because I don't think anyone would tune in every week to see the adventures of Steve Rogers, who drives around in his van and paints, and is sometimes Captain America. I don't think anybody would actually sit down and watch that. So the film has a different director. It has Ivan Nagy this time, who directed a bunch of TV movies, as well as a bunch of episodes of Chips, and even an episode of Matthew Starr. And he directed the film Skinner, the 90s direct-to-video horror film Skinner that starred Ted Raimi as a killer, which I haven't seen it yet, but it's from the director of Captain America 2, Death Too Soon. There you go. There's some useless trivia for you. Uh, and it's written by Wilton Schiller, who I thought did a little bit better job writing than the last guy who wrote for the 1979 TV movie Captain America. Also, I have to wonder why there was even a sequel. Why the rate? Like I said, the ratings. I guess because the ratings did pretty decent for the last TV movie. Um, so they ordered another one and try to see if this second TV movie would get enough audience so CBS could get that Captain America show that they're really gung ho about having. But the reviews weren't very good, and the ratings weren't very good either. And pretty much Captain America 2: Death Too Soon, when it aired in two parts on November 23rd, 1979 and November 24th, was as a placeholder for the finale of Salem's Lot. That's pretty much it. People like, maybe anybody who watched it when it first aired were just like, oh, Salem's Lot is on after this crap. We'll just watch this, I guess. God, this is lame. When is Salem's Lot gonna start? I'd rather watch part 2 again. I'd rather part 3 again of Salem's Lot again than this. It's shorter than the last film, which is nice. It's only 83 minutes. So it is definitely does have better pacing than the last film. It's got a better idea, better concept. It's got a little bit more action, but still not enough to really keep your interest throughout the whole film. I'd say it's a small step above the last one, but that's about it, really. So Red Brown comes back as Steve Rogers slash Captain America, and he does fine. Like I said, he's charming, he's likable enough, and it just isn't given much to do. And most of the time, once again, this film suffers from the problem that the last film suffered from: too much Steve Rogers. And in this film's case, a lot of scenes of Steve Rogers just doing boring ass shit. Let's have multiple scenes of Steve Rogers driving around in his van around the countryside with music that is so terrible. It's literally raping your eardrums. It's that bad. It's that really awful dated 70s music that you probably hear in an elevator sometime in the 70s, or in a commercial. It's just really awful country fried shit. It really is. And like I said, it's rape to your eardrums. It just is absolute ear rape. And So great scintillating scenes of Steve Rogers driving around his van, checking out the countryside that go on way too damn long. Scenes of Steve Rogers painting a fucking cat. Even the movie opens up with him painting an old lady. That's your Captain America film for you, folks. It opens up with Captain America painting a portrait of an old lady. It doesn't get better from there. It gets a little bit better because there's a cool motorcycle stunt and some kind of fun to be had, but not really, not much. It's only marginal. It's a marginal improvement from the last movie, and that's not enough. So anyway, too many scenes of Steve Rogers driving around in his van, painting. He even paints a cat in one scene, which is just stop painting already. I don't want to see Bob Ross the superhero. Nobody wants to see Bob Ross play a superhero. Nobody wants to see that shit. Get the fuck out of here with the painting, for fuck's sake. No. Oh, or he takes his cat to the vet. Oh my god, he took his cat to the vet! I can't handle the excitement. It's too much, my heart can't take it. Fuck no! Hanging out at the farm, doing chores. I'm like talking to some kid, having small talk with some little kid. It was like, God. Even the scene where Captain America's hang gliding with his motorcycle goes on way too damn long. You're just waiting for him to land the fucking thing so he can get on with it already and chase after Christopher Lee's old ass. Anyway, I'll get to that soon enough. It's just, ugh. So the rest of the cast, you have Connie Sellecca replaces Heather Menzies as Dr. Wendy Day. It's not much to do. Pretty thankless role. Len Berman comes back as Dr. Simon Mills. Yes, Dr. Oz returns. Then you have Christopher Lee, who plays the villain. Who's a lot better than Steve Forrest, but that's not saying much, and he still doesn't have that much to do. It's just a really lame scene at the end where he gets in a really shitty fight with Red Brown at the end and then dies of old age. It's really awful. So, the film's plot is basically this. The film opens up with Steve Rogers, like I was saying, sketching a portrait of Mrs. Shaw, played by Susan French, an old lady who's complaining to him about a gang of muggers who have been stealing her pension checks. So they've been stealing her pension, her Social Security checks. And she talks to Steve and denies having cashed hers. And he bids her to go cash hers in order to set a trap for the muggers. And this springs the trap. And Captain America rockets out of the back of his van and chases after these muggers. It's not that exciting. He even runs after them on the beach. It's pretty lame. I mean, there's just some lines of dialogue from this movie. Okay, the first line of dialogue you hear is Steve Rogers sketching the portrait of the old lady. He's like, Mrs. Shaw, you have the eyes of Farrah Fawcett and a face like Julie Christie. I'm like, God, are you hitting on her? Are you hitting on her? Are you hitting on her, Reb? Are you hitting on her, Steve? Is that what you want, Steve? You want some old lady poon? Is that it? Want some old poon? Again, I don't want to hear that. And then he goes and stops the bad guy, the muggers. And then he apprehends the hoodlum who's been hassling these elderly people. And then he comes in. This is about as close to this TV movie's idea of badass. I want your number when you get out of jail, pal. The old people in this town are my friends. And if I hear they're having problems again, I'm coming after you. You got that? I've got it. I want the name and number of every member of your gang. Which kind of reminded me of the scene in Tango and Cash where the one guy is getting mad at Stallone. And he's like, what the hell is this? I want your name, I want your number, I want your badge, and I want your ass. Rambo's a pussy. I'd rather watch Tango and Cash. I'd rather be talking about Tango and Cash than this shitty TV movie. I really would. It's more entertaining. Definitely more worth my time. But he stops these muggers, and then, and just real quick, Spoonie did reviews of these films, which he did a really great job. And he mentioned something that I didn't really point out in the review of the first TV movie, Steve Rogers gets the flag serum, which is the super soldier serum, which is it saves his life, but Red Brown's already jacked. So it really doesn't really make much of a difference. All it did was just keep him alive. So he's already built like a brick house, so it's like, kind of pointless. It's kind of pointless to give him the super soldier serum. He was already really strong. Unless it made him even stronger. But that's just a little thing. And so while this is going on, while Cap is stopping muggers on the beach, there's a freelance revolutionary terrorist calling himself General Miguel, played by Christopher Lee, who's planning to fight an unspecified war, and he kidnaps a professor and forces him to resume his research in manipulative gerontology, which is Elsa manages to formulate both a chemical that accelerates aging and the antidote to the same chemical. And Miguel, posing as the warden of a prison in Oregon near Portland, my hometown, plans to use the chemicals in question to hold Portland hostage for $2 billion. Which I'm like, Portland is fucked. $2 billion in 1979. The American government is not given $2 billion to stop the city of Portland from turning into old farts. It's not happening. It isn't. No. It's the only hope Portland, Oregon has is Captain America and his super bike. So anyway, Miguel, Christopher Lee doesn't have much to do. There's just a lot of not much of anything to do. I mean, and Steve Rogers, when he's asked him when he's told about Miguel, Dr. Simon Mills explains about who Miguel is, and I thought this was kind of unintentionally funny. He's like, and Steve Rogers is like, Miguel the revolutionary? The man behind the airport slaughter at Copenhagen, the massacre at the World Cup track meet, and most of the kidnappings and executions of diplomats all over Europe. Oh shit, this guy's hardcore. And so you just have a lot of but in between a lot of these, Cap goes in and checks out this place that might be run by Miguel, gets in a little bit of fight, punches people into boxes and shit. It's hilarious. He lifts up a forklift, he jumps onto a crane. It's really, and every time he does all this, uses his powers, there's this annoying sound effect that happens every time. It sounds like it's ripped directly from the $6 Million Man. Just go da-da-da-da-da-da. And there's times where the sound effect happens when Cap doesn't even do anything. He's just standing there in the bushes looking at Miguel, and then it goes da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, what does he have, special location powers now? He even said, like, I see you, Miguel. You're at this distance and this distance. And I'm like, okay, so does Cap have special location powers? Did he get that with his super soldier serum? Did he get some form of spider sense? It's his sentinel sense? I don't know, but it's completely silly. And every time he did anything, it did. It looked like a low rent. It looked like a $6 Million Man ripoff. And they already have another $6 Million Man. It's called the Bionic Woman. We don't need Captain America to be another $6 Million Man, the third one of the bunch. It just, yeah, no. And so Captain America fights a bunch of these guys, and it's entertaining and just a time waster way. And I guess the film, whenever Captain America is actually on screen doing something, is somewhat entertaining. Yeah, and the costume here looks better than it did in the first movie, because he doesn't look like Evel Knievel, but he still was wearing a helmet and a mask. Why are you wearing a helmet? Take the helmet. It just looks stupid. It really does. And that stupid clear plastic shield. And which every time he throws it, it looks like a fucking frisbee. Doesn't look like it would inflict any damage. Even when he's using it to knock people out, it doesn't look like it would do much at all. And speaking of Red Brown knocking people out with his shield, I would totally pay for a movie where Red Brown just ran around yelling at the top of his lungs, just knocking people out, knocking bad guys out with his shield. Just running around, ah! Bang! Ah! Clang! Ah! Throwing the shield and knocking people out. That'd be awesome. That'd be the epitome of entertainment right there. Of course, there'd have to be more than just Red Brown running around yelling and hitting bad guys with his shield, but that would be a big step forward in the right direction. But anyway, so like I was saying, there's a lot of fucking lame shit where Captain America he goes in and he ends up painting a cat. He drives around his van some more. He ends up in this place near Portland, which is some fictional Oregon town. It looks like a farm. It's like a small town. Trouble finds him. He doesn't try to avoid trouble. Trouble finds him in the form of these asshole guys who just try to beat him up with baseball bats. Cap then takes them out later in a meh action sequence. And then he goes in and he just starts small talking with a little kid, trying to form a relationship with this farm woman, doing farm chores, takes his cat to the vet. You find out that the vet isn't really a vet, which I'm like, oh my god, he's not really a vet. Holy shit. The kid's pet sheep, Whitey, died. So I'm like, Whitey is dead. Which reminded me of that hilarious scene in Black Sheep with Chris Farley where he's on stage at the Rock the Vote concert, and he just randomly grabs the microphone and he goes, he grabs the microphone and he goes, "Kill Whitey! Whitey is dead." I'd rather watch Black Sheep than this. So the sheep is dead, Whitey is dead, and because he got sprayed with the aging formula. And then you have this the film cuts back to the scientist lab or the working on they gave a cub I think it was like a cougar cub some of the aging formula and it's getting older acceleratedly and then you have if you get the antidote but it's not enough and then Captain America ends up going to the penitentiary where he finds out where Miguel is. And actually before that, you have a really good stunt scene on a dam where Captain America is trying to get away from these bad guys who are chasing after him in a jeep, and they're shooting at him, and he uses his shield to deflect the bullets, and then the Captain America on this motorcycle goes flying over the side of a dam, and it literally looks like they just threw the motorcycle off the side of the dam, and I'm wondering how they did that, how they got that shot, and also I'm also really wondering. I hope there wasn't any stuntmen. I would hope there wasn't a stunt guy who was on that bike because he's dead. But I don't think there was. It was probably just a dummy. But it's a really great stunt. Excuse me, I had to get something to drink. It's a really great stunt, and it's definitely one of the better things that the film has to offer. Every time I see it, my jaw just drops. I'm like, holy shit, how did they do that? That's really impressive. So then after that, you get more boring shit. Fucking Steve even dresses up in disguise. Make sure to wear your hat, Steve. People in this town know who you are. Just puts on a cowboy hat and a jacket, and nobody recognizes him. What's next? He wears some Groucho goggles and a trench coat. Borrow some advice from the Ninja Turtles in terms of how to disguise yourself in public. He's supposed to put a tracer on a car or something, and he does that. And it's just so exciting, isn't it? It really is. And it leads to the climax where Captain America goes to the penitentiary, ends up going up against these dogs, which Miguel, this is so stupid. He tells his men to give these dogs an overdose of this aging formula. Give them triple the dose. Which I'm like, wouldn't that make them older and then they're going to be frailer and they're going to be less of a match for Captain America? I don't think you thought this through very well, Miguel. I don't think you really did. You really didn't think that through very well at all. And so, but and so Cap goes up against these dogs, and it's got this flimsy plastic shield, and it just is pathetic. But actually, watching the scene, it actually was a little bit tense because I think it might have been Red Brown who's just asked to hold up this plastic shield while these dogs are just barking and literally just going after him. So I'm like, and all they had in between them, these dogs, and like them biting his arm or really messing him up is a freaking plastic shield that bends when the dog jumps into it. So yeah, manages to get away from the dogs though, and then he, in order to just a random scene, he's trying to distract the prison guards, I guess. So he picks up a bag of flour and throws it in the air, and they shoot at it, a bunch of dumbasses. And then he goes in and he grabs his motor. It's just enough so he can get to his motorcycle and throw it up onto the walkway, so then he can jump up onto the motorcycle, drive it off, and then flip a switch and pop out a hang glider out of the back of his motorcycle, which is kind of cool. And then the scene drags forever, and you're waiting for him to land and get the fuck off the hang glider. And it looks pretty dangerous. It looks like they just had a stuntman on a motorcycle holding onto a hang glider, flying in midair, and just hoping and praying to God that nothing goes wrong. And then you have the climax where it's not much. Christopher Lee actually outraces Captain America on his super bike, which is supposed to be one of the most fastest bikes ever. And Christopher Lee outraces Captain America on his bike with a station wagon. I'm not making that shit up. He outruns him with a station wagon, and then when he stops the station wagon, he outruns Captain America by foot. And this is Christopher Lee. This is an old guy. This is not Dracula. He's not Dracula. He's just an old guy. Old terrorists. Old dirty terrorists. And, and Cap can't. And so Cap then goes after him, and he runs away like a bitch. Miguel's got an assault rifle, and Cap, instead of going straight at him, he runs away like a bitch, cowering behind his shield. And then he finally gets in, and Miguel then grabs some of the aging formula, throws it at Cap, he bounces it off his shield, it ends up on Christopher Lee, he starts aging, and then randomly they just cut in, Christopher Lee's no longer there. It's this other actor who looks nothing like Christopher Lee, who just comes in and is supposed to be old, really old Christopher Lee. And I'm like, why don't you just give him old makeup? Why did you have an old actor just to come in and just play old dead Christopher Lee? I don't really get it. And then Cap makes a pun where Christopher Lee's henchman comes in, is talking to Cap, and then Cap makes a pun after he's talking about Miguel. He's like, Miguel? And Cap's like, too late, Stadler. He died of old age waiting for you. You're like, ugh. This is, it's bad. It's really corny. But that's nowhere near as bad as the last shot and the last sequence of this TV movie. I shit you not. Is Captain America painting again. Because I thought this was such a fucking great idea to have Captain America paint. This is so amazing, so exciting. It is one of the best ideas ever. And the last line is he's with this little kid, the kid that he was small talking with earlier, that he helped out on the farm. And here's the last. He talks to Pete, this kid. And the kid's asking about what he's painting. And Steve says, Pete, I just paint what I see. I'm like, oh, God. Oh, paint. Oh, just paint what I see. You know what I see? I see a steaming pile of shit. I see a steaming pile of fucking sewer garbage. That's what I see. It's exactly what I see. And, oh, I forgot about how they dropped the aging formula in Portland. That's why there's this big race to stop Miguel. They dropped this aging formula in Portland, and they're all gonna get old. I guess it turned into old farts. He wants $2 billion. And then when he drops the formula with a skywriter with a plane that writes in the sky the word smile. So I'm like my plastic surgeon always says, if you gotta go, Go with a smile. Hubba, hubba, hubba. Money, money, money. Who do you trust? Who do you trust? This is a movie that if the Joker saw on TV, he'd be punching the TV set, that's for sure. I found a name for my pain, and it's Captain America! Anyway, so I really don't know what to say about Captain America Death Too Soon, aka Captain America Death Not Soon Enough, except that it's only marginally better than the last film because the plot's more interesting than just another typical bomb threat. The whole idea of people turning old is kind of silly, but at the same time, it's better than just another typical bomb on a truck. Some of the action sequences, there's like a few that have Cap in it that are a little bit better, a little bit more for him to do than the last film. The hang glider scene was kind of cool, except when it overstayed its welcome. The dam stunt is actually a really good stunt. That dam stunt is actually it's actually a pretty damn good stunt. And the score, once again, is pretty solid. They did a remix of it for this, though. A redo, so to speak. I don't like it as much because they do add some more 70s disco vibe to it that I'm like, ugh. And so Christopher Lee's nice to see him, but he doesn't have much to do. Red Brown's good as well for what he has to work with. But it's, for the most part, even though it's only 80-something minutes, it still feels like it's longer than that because of all the shitty, boring scenes of Steve driving around his van and painting, and the vet who isn't the vet, and all this other stupid shit, farm work and crap you don't really care about, and not enough Captain America, and even when he is on screen, he doesn't do that much anyway. So anyway, I really don't know what to say about the film, except it's rated out of 5 stars. I give it 2. Like I said, it's a small step above the last film, but it's still a poor movie. It's still a shitty made-for-TV movie. It's still it's still definitely one of Marvel's worst that they have to offer. But I don't know. I haven't seen Captain America 1990 in a while. I don't know. Maybe I'd rather watch this than Captain America 1990. But that's up next, so pray for me, please, because this is going to hurt. Anyway, thank you for watching my review of Captain America 2, Death Too Soon, and I will see you guys later. See ya.